Welcome to Common Unity. I'm Jason Fox.
And I'm Dr. Gabriel Lewis. And we are bringing the community together with a common unity.
8 years.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Welcome back to Common Unity. It's episode 27. We've had a little hiatus, but it's fucking good to be back. And we've got a guest along here today. He didn't want to come on the podcast for quite some time because he said it was a bit shit. And then he rang me, goes, bro, you're there now. Like, I'm ready to come onto the podcast. So we'd like to welcome Jasper Osborne.
Yeah. Good afternoon. Beautiful sunny day in the Bay of Plenty, just like it always is.
Did you come in your waka?
It's wet enough. Yeah, it's well wet enough, that's for sure. So
yeah, if you're reading the news and it's the 10th or after, it's the 9th today, and there's a bit of water and a few slips. But my walls in the office are crying like a painting of Jesus, just out of the middle of nowhere in the paint. There's water coming out, so that's a good sign for this building. But we're here.
Yeah. No, it's good. No, I appreciate it. I have enjoyed the last the few that I've sort of listened to the whole lot. I have to do a bit of driving, so while I'm out and about, it is quite good to dabble it in between the other podcasts I listen to.
Okay, yeah, lovely. Yep. I think what happened is obviously we got Matt on here, and then you're like, fuck.
Well, I just wanted to make sure I could go after him so I could talk shit. So,
well, I'm looking forward to it because I was like, with a beard like that, you've got to have a few tails.
Yep, definitely.
There's already been mention of a grenade and a cow.
Oh, shit.
So if you're a vegan, maybe tune out now. We're wrong podcast for you.
Friendly or no?
So anyway, yeah, we might as well get into it because we're going to be here for a few hours. So get comfortable. Jasper, where the fuck were you born?
Actually born over in Hamilton.
Okay, we'll skip that part.
Yeah. Then sort of spent, I think it was the first 6 or 7 years of my life over there. And then Dad got a job down in Wellington, so we all made the move down there. And then I was there till I was about 18, did all the schooling, all the fun activities and stuff down there. So
probably don't want to talk about your dad, otherwise the podcast become about him and not you.
Yeah, it does happen. It's all good.
What was your dad's job in Wellington?
He moved down there. He was just doing working for New Zealand Post, actually. Pretty glad down there, and then ventured into got a job for QV, and then was one of the fellas that started up 2 Degrees. So he's pretty good businessman.
Done a thing or two, eh?
Yeah, done a few.
It's a shame it didn't pass down to his son.
Yeah. No, I couldn't wear a suit every day, that's for sure. Definitely not my cup of tea. So, his family's from Wanganui, so spent a lot of time down there as well. Growing up, always in the school holidays, out on the farm or doing activities that probably a young kid shouldn't be doing.
Or should be doing. We would have better kids these days.
Yeah, my young fella's already out there doing it. He's about 4, so he's already having the time of his life, really. Is he
a young fella into golf? Because he looks like a young Cam Smith. He's got the same blonde hair and mullet. He's just waiting for the moustache to come in.
Yeah. Well, not so much. He's not that great at swinging a club yet, so we'll see. But he's doesn't mind being out on the hills, checking out nature and stuff. So yeah.
Which is clearly what you do every weekend.
Pretty much, yeah. Every other weekend I try and get out, try and take him out at least once a month, just to experience life, really. See stuff, see wild animals running around in their natural habitat, and selectively taking a few homes who have got food and feed our family and other families. So, it's good.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for a call-up for some more brisket.
He laughs. It's not happening.
Happened once, it was bloody good. Too Kaiti, the vegan in the house, goes, that looks very good. She's like, I was like, no, it was wild. It was wild, so it wasn't farmed. So I'm going to just try a little bit. And ever since then, she's cured.
Yeah, I try and take bring at least 2 vegans a year back to eating meat, and generally they end up a lot healthier. So end up being nicer people. Yeah.
I love my pit barrel stuff at the moment, so I've been all into it.
Yeah.
So I'm just about to fabricate a above fireplace cooking rack stuff too.
Good.
Yeah, all about it.
Yeah, it looks like you do some pretty good stuff. This guy's got about 14 barbecues. He's got the roast, like, oh, that's the smoker, and it just goes along this whole wall in this house. But
Yeah, there's a few.
That's the where I'll be getting it eventually.
yeah, well, you've got more land than him, so you could have more barbecues.
He's got more meat than me.
That's a bit rude.
Oh, meaning he goes hunting.
I don't know, you can take that as a compliment.
So good. We're off to a great start. So 18, where to from there? Yeah, you've been to school and what, OE was it?
Yeah, bit of an OE. Mum's Danish, so had a Danish passport, which means, you know, I could sort of cruise anywhere in Europe. So boosted over there. Spent a lot of time playing rugby over there. It was about a year. Had a lot of fun. Had a job which wasn't much of a job, you know, just enough to help pay for stuff while I was over there. And just did a lot of travelling with the rugby boys and stuff like that. That was a hell of a lot of fun being 18. Most of the other guys were late 20s, early 30s, so they'd been there a lot longer. So it just meant you could go and experience a whole lot of stuff and didn't have to do, muck around and do the stuff that you didn't really want to, or you're like, you know, they're like, oh, we can go do this is epic, A, B and C, let's do it after a game, so you could just get on a train and go and have a lot of fun, yeah.
World's at your fingertips, eh? It's all joint.
Yeah, it is.
Was that a paid gig, or you got a little bit of pocket money out of the rugby?
Yeah, we got like some free passes and stuff to, you know, for travelling and stuff like that.
Yeah, cool.
And it was a pretty good experience.
So it helped you along the way to see the world?
Yeah. No, it was good. It was really good. I only really came back, like I had a opportunity to stay over there and possibly play for Denmark, which would have been cool. Everyone would love to be able to call themselves an international rugby player, but I also got the same week I got a letter, because you got to do a compulsory stint in the army over there. So I was like, I'm out. I don't do well at following instructions, so me and the army probably wouldn't get along too well. So just decided to gap it back here for a little bit. And
how long's the compulsory stint?
I think it was 6 months.
Yep.
Which is probably about 5.5 months too long for me. So I was like, nah, I'm out. Gapped it back over here and been back a few times, but not to stay. Yeah.
And then what? Back here and time to get a real job, was it?
Yeah, back here, and I was like, you know, I was about 19. Didn't really know what I wanted to do, so just tried a few trades. Quickly found out which ones I didn't want to do. I didn't mind the whole Sparky gig, so started an apprenticeship down there, worked for a pretty good company down there, so we did like supermarkets and fire stations and a lot of cool stuff. It was quite a cool gig actually, so started down there and then had a lot of friends up here because I spent a lot of time over New Year's over at Lake Karapiro, so had a lot of mates up here, so decided that there was really, after coming back from Europe, Wellington was a bit of a shithole. Always wet, always cold. So
it's kind of like here for since the last winter.
The last 12 months.
Yeah, so made the move up here, got a job up here that was fairly easy, and worked for another company up here for the first probably 6 years, and then sort of wanted to venture into something a bit different than what we were doing with that company. So just sat down with the boss and had a yarn and just told him I sort of, you know, wanted to try a different avenue of thing and a different sort of Sparky game, and told him, I'll probably start in about a year, so gave him a year's notice, and then just went and started my own thing, and pretty much what are we now, like 10 years later, still doing it. So
you must have learned a fair bit on the way through, obviously 6 years with them. Did you go through a few positions to work your way up to going on your own, or?
So you make your way up through doing different projects and things, and learning off other guys that you work with, and then you get opportunities along the way to sort of further your skill, and just got to take those opportunities, and here we are. So it was a pretty good learning experience the whole way through. It was kind of it still really is. I don't know if it's what I want to do forever, but I enjoy it, and I haven't found anything else that I like doing more. So it's a pretty lucky gig to be in, really. Yeah. At the moment, like I think a lot of people out there at the moment are quite, freaking out a little bit about what's going to happen over the next year or so, but we just go hard.
Yeah.
Hope for the best.
Yeah.
Just push it.
Well, you're a little bit different too, because you're not like some of these building firms that have 20 guys working for them and they're reliant on a Classics or a Venture or a GJs and just go in there and drag wires through. You're more on the higher end stuff that you're in there for quite a period of time doing the electricals, aren't you, and a lot of that stuff?
Yeah, we are. We're in there for, like a spec house. You're probably in there for a couple of days. We can be in a house for a month for, just a pre-wire. So there's quite a bit involved in it, especially like everything now can get as technical as you want. Even just with lights, automation stuff can just change your home completely. So
it really can just create that atmosphere and that experience too.
Yep. So we've been lucky enough that we've worked on quite a few really, really cool houses.
Yeah.
And it's cool to be able to take people through it, show people what can be done really, because a lot of people have just this picture of, the Sparky just comes and puts some lights and puts some power points in, goes, we just have a light switch, turn a light on, but there's
so much more.
Yeah, there is. Yep. So, I mean, Jace, you've come through one of the places. I think it's. I think that was actually one of the places that Matt had done. So.
Oh, was that one of his in Bethlehem?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So.
He's a good builder, eh? Yeah. The lighting was a little bit shady, but.
Yeah. We didn't design that.
It's because you were standing in the light.
I cast a mean shadow on that place, I tell you. Nah, that place was phenomenal. It was from memory, driving to the garage, hop out of the car, the garage is heated, walk through all the home, heated. I'm going out to the swimming pool, which is heated, but on the way to the swimming pool in winter, I don't want cold feet, so the deck was heated. So internal, external, underfloor heating, let alone all the other theatres and other things that were going on in there.
Yeah, so you could
the
really
things you don't realise that you don't think of that makes the whole experience like, why does this feel really good? Oh, my feet are warm. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That sensory perception.
You'd never have a grumpy wife again.
I'd always find something. But,
So leading up to before starting Fused Electrical, which is the name of his company, which he hasn't plugged, probably because he's too busy. But it's Fused Electrical. If you want to get in there and give him some Google comments or something like that, give him a
I'll try and
a 1-star review.
I think I've got the access back into my Instagram again, so I'll have to start posting on there again. It's just been a bit blank because I've lost the password for about 6 months, so we'll get back on there and get stuff sorted. Yeah.
But the high end stuff that you're doing today, is that some of the stuff you learnt with the previous company? Like you must have got quite upskilled, because obviously I know, but the audience and Gabs doesn't know that you do quite a lot of that automation stuff. Like you've done stairs where you walk up and the lights follow you up the stairs and they light as you walk all the way up and stuff like that. Yeah. You don't just learn that on the back of a Weet-Bix packet like most people's car license.
No. So it's sort of like you pick up little bits. Like I've been a Sparky probably 16, 17 years now, so you pick up a lot of little things along the way as well, and just learning off other tradesmen and picking up, where you might have done things, a certain way, and you've seen someone else do them, so then you can be like, actually, that way works a hell of a lot better. Why don't I try doing it that way? And when you have guys come work for you as well, they're like, hey, at our old company we did this. I'm like, sweet. What do you guys want to do? Should we try it this way instead and see how that goes? And I'm not really a one,
do it this way.
Yeah, and that's it. But I do like the crew to all do things the same way, so that if there's another guy goes back to the job, he can kind of pick up quickly on what's actually going on there.
Yeah.
Versus, you get a lot of tradesmen that have their own way. That's how they do it. And if you get 4 or 5 of those in a team, you can't send them to each other's jobs because they don't really know how it works. Or they don't know what he's done there.
Someone's a week into it and then they've got some annual leave and they walk off the site for 3 weeks and someone tries to pick it up and they're like, what the start from scratch.
Yeah, so it's most of the stuff is you pick up along the way. I'm not scared to ask questions and learn from other guys that I know that have been doing it even longer, but it's just keeping up to date. Having yarns to the reps and stuff and seeing what the new stuff is that's coming out, how I can use that to my advantage and use that in the projects that we've got coming up. So
Well, that good on you, because so many people want to rule with an iron fist and go my way or the highway. This is the way we do it in this company. So well, I don't know. You can get, I guess, you can get quite stagnant in that aspect when you're saying this is how I do things. This is how we've always done things. I don't like change.
I think it's the worst thing to be saying in business, and it's always been done this way. So I really do, because it's times change, systems change, people change, the environment you're in, product changes. So you'd be stupid to do it the one way.
Yeah, and without that growth mindset, it's in business it really is adapt or die.
Yeah.
It's like we're talking about what's happening at the moment. If all you did was houses for classics and they used to build 300 homes a year and all of a sudden they're doing 120, you might be out of business. Yeah. So if you're just reliant on them to pick up the phone and ring, so you've got to get out there and find something different, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So now we'll just carry on our way. We've done a lot of off-grid stuff as well. Like we've done a lot of little houses, little cabins, people setting up like Airbnbs or canopy escapes. We've done a lot of cool stuff with them, which I really enjoy as well. Out in the middle of nowhere, setting up a cabin, setting up a solar setup on this cabin to run it. We've probably done a dozen or so of those as well over the last few years. They've become really popular. People have got a big farm, and they're like, actually, this is a pretty cool location. We've got a real epic view. Why don't we put a little cabin on here and then start Airbnb-ing it? Or
so when somebody says, I've had this question so much, and I know for a fact with regards to one of my mentors with rallying, he's quite clever and clued up with solar panels, and he's bought batteries that's worth a lot at a very good price. But a lot of people seem to think, I've got solar panels, I could get them set up quite cheap and hook it up and source it. What's a good budget for somebody if they're off grid, that they're wanting to kind of
For like a full house?
Just for like a cabin side where they want to run it, where it's a weekend getaway cabin that can power their family, and for that moment, what would be a realistic budget?
You could get quite a good system for 15-20 grand.
Yep.
Like quite a good system that you would really have to worry about too much.
So it's got battery packs and stuff as well?
Yeah. But a lot of people will try and do the whole system and a generator as well. So they've got we can set up like an auto startup changeover. If the batteries aren't at a certain level, by the afternoon we can have it top up by the generator if they've had 4 or 5 cloudy days.
Yeah.
So
love that. Yeah. Chuck some petrol or diesel in there, and here we go. We'll get this electric up.
Well, a lot of out there, you don't have another option.
Yeah, no.
If you try and get power down to the site, you're looking at a couple $100,000 for a few of these places, and then it just cuts that off. People aren't going to build that cabin, and you can do a tiny little setup where you can just do lights, and then at least just makes it a little bit more comfortable, just with some lights. And that's cheap as you can do that with just some LED you buy from Repco and a battery, if you want to, and just charge it up, take it with you. I've seen people do that, especially this time of the year with mai-mais everywhere, everyone going out duck shooting, see a lot of that. The guys will just take a battery with them, a little bit of or some lights, boat lights or lights in a car, and set their own little setup up, a little 12-volt setup, they're away.
A couple of dozen beers and happy days.
Yeah.
Yeah, how good. Yeah, sounds lovely. So when you come back to the, say, 60 square metre dwelling, is that sort of like 5 solar panels, 6 solar panels to run one of those? Because when you look at a roof and you see them scattered and you see some of these homes, you've got 26 on probably a 200 square metre house, it does take quite a few panels to actually bring that power in, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So at the moment, there are a lot of companies pushing for like on-grid stuff for like your average townhouse, and you can get a lot of panels on your home and create a little bit of power that way, but if you're putting 24 panels on, you might save yourself somewhere between $50 and $100 a month, and that outlays quite a bit. So it's like electric cars. It's a lot of people feel good about themselves if they've got it, and if that's what you like, and that's how you want to, or what you want to do to make yourself feel good, or you'll contribute, like how you contribute to the environment, saving it, then that's cool.
Yeah. Much cheaper to plant a tree.
Much cheaper.
Yeah.
So we'll go do some pest control. That'll do a lot more for the environment.
Oh, yes. Yeah. So,
Yeah, I can definitely tell you the possums in my tree. I shot 22 one year.
Yep. 22 around your house.
Yeah.
You would do. We had a possum at our house in the lakes.
Really?
Yeah. Did I tell you that story? No. Literally sitting there on the floor. We've got a wall like this, all of those windows and the TV's there. So just sitting on the floor next to that wall of bifolds. And what I assumed was a big cat goes boom right into the glass one night, like trying to run inside with the light on, right at us. I was like, holy fuck, that's a big ass possum. And it's like, no, it's not. And I turned the light on, and it's about to like scramble up the corner of our house and then climbs up the fence. It was a good size one. So it must have come across from the kiwi fruit farms across the highway and then into our property.
Yeah, well, you got a big gully across there, because it would have been 10 years ago. None of that existed back there.
No,
I used to do a bit of hunting up there, and there was you still had deer that came almost down to where that highway is now.
Oh, really?
So,
you wouldn't think about deer being in there, but you're right.
They come all the way down those valleys from all the way up the
more on the Joyce Road side.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So you got that whole valley that runs all the way up there. It's still, you go a little bit further up, and it's still riddled with them. Yeah.
Yeah. So why are you driving all the way to Wanganui for a deer then?
Oh no, we do a bit here. I do a bit here. Do a lot in the Kaimais, but the young fella doesn't really like. You got an hour walk in really to go and try and get to a good deer spot in the Kaimais, and trying to drag a 4-year-old along to that is a bit
quite
hard.
much.
So it's much easier to nip down, go to the back of a farm, or just go sit in some bushes on a place and
Wait for them to come to you.
Yeah, walk for 15 minutes. After you get to a point, and then you can spend hours watching them. Really, it's quite cool.
Yeah. That should come down one day.
Yeah.
You can have some stories to tell like you do of all your other mates you've taken down there that you think's hilarious. I'm sure I'll do something stupid too.
Yeah, most people do.
You got any funny stories about that you want to share? Your hunting stories? That's okay to say on camera? Or
that's
the
a
Fused
hard
brand?
I do a lot. I take out a lot of young fellas as well, and guys that haven't done a lot, and I find that a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Getting guys into it, or guys that are dabbled in it or want to go into it, but they don't have a parent that goes hunting, so that's kind of cool. And getting them their first, second deer is quite cool as well. And then they can take it home. They take it home. They're feeding their family. They're quite, most of the time they're quite proud about what they've got and what they've done, and seen the whole process and understood the whole thing about it. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, like you saw this year when I got my first marlin, like have never been a huge fisherman, but fuck, what an experience. So I can imagine it's very similar.
Yeah.
Getting a good deer or something. So
Yeah.
probably do need to come tick that one off.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Come
Yeah,
do
yeah.
it. You'll probably luck in and shoot a stag the first time we go out. But
Yeah, I'll probably be like 15 minutes in and just get one and not even really get out of the car.
Yeah. If only it was that. But no, I enjoy it. I just enjoy being out with nature, really. Especially the South Island. South Island's quite beautiful, and especially you get out to a remote place, dropped in by a helicopter, somewhere random, completely random, and spend a week out there is quite cool.
For those that don't know, you've actually got to go on like ballots to get into a lot of those blocks. So
Yeah, a lot, especially down Fiordland and stuff like that. You've sort of, like we go on ballots every year for the Stewart Island. There's one down Haas that you've got a ballot for. So there's a lot of ballots that you enter. Most of the money's going to conservation anyway, so it's to help the whole project. But
Yeah.
You know, it's good fun when you're in there, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Gnarly weather, though. Yeah. Makes us look like a piece of cake.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is cute, eh?
Yeah.
Isn't that cute? Yeah. We're like closing roads and you're just like, no, chopper us in there.
Yeah, well, no, we've had some pretty gnarly experiences out there, and like tents getting blown off the sides of hillsides, and we're like, oh shit, we just got to, you know, middle of the night, getting up, changing into all your wet weather gear, trying to pack your sleeping bag away, and you're like lying in like 2 inches of water going, I've only got 5 more hours of this, and then hopefully we can get a chopper to come in a couple of days early to get us out because all of our stuff's wrecked.
Yeah.
And that...
Yeah, I'll just come to the farm. That sounds better.
Yeah. Make sure there's aircon and
David Goggins.
Yeah. So, no, I mean, it's all life experiences, and then you go through something that's not as bad, and you're like, oh, it's just a...
It's character building. Like you can actually really call on. Actually, this may be really stressful, but hey, I've had other challenges in the time that it will pull me through this. I can gain from my experience there and stuff like that. That's so cool.
Yeah, it is, and a lot of it like transfers over to everything, doesn't it? With and doing stuff like that, and pushing yourself and trying to do stuff that you're like, oh shit, I don't know about this. Is that going to work?
It will translate into business too.
Yeah.
Like having the confidence to go, actually, no, I back myself. I have this feeling and going with it, trusting your gut.
Yeah. And I was like, with most things, people are like, oh, can this be done? I'm like, yeah, that can be done. And then I'll just
figure out how.
Yeah, figure out a way, make it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want to be that guy that's let them down. So you're just like, no, we'll figure it out. And generally it works out pretty good. You can ask, you know, like I know the right people to ask certain questions, and you can make it happen pretty quick. Yeah.
Yeah, it's surprising what you can figure out, because even when we were doing our home reno and stuff like that, we're like, I had this concept and an idea, and often they were like, oh no, it's got no product that can do that. No, you've got to do this. No, they were like basic. They didn't have any idea. And I was like, I'm sure I've seen this somewhere. And I'm like, I'm sure they could. I just need to do some research. And I ended up finding the product over in Hamilton that got sent across, and they custom made it, and it was excellent. It's basic compared to what you're doing, but it's done like exactly what we're trying to achieve. Yeah. But it changes everything, like the whole lighting, because you've got top-notch, it's got matte, and then it's got top-notch painters that's going through, and then you've got the lighting highlights. It's like the cherry on top of the cake. It's actually really important, and it could not highlight that skill set if it's wrong.
Well, most houses don't come to life until they're
Nighttime.
at night, right?
Yeah.
Like, look how good this office looks right now.
Yeah.
You mean looking through the window?
Yeah. One of my favourite things. So Jasper was in my BNI, and he did this big 10-minute presentation of all his lights.
Yeah.
And all of the photos were taken at daytime, and all the switches were off. It was like, have you figured out how to hook the power up to the houses yet, mate?
Yeah. Got to see
I was coming through work hours. I was taking the photo through work hours.
I just get around today. I can't creep round to I think it'll be a bit sketchy if I just creep round to people's houses at night and just try and get some photos through the window. But
You don't need to. Richard will deal with that for you.
yeah, he would. Yeah. You didn't mind too much, so that's all right either.
Yeah. No, I'm used to seeing you on the window. So.
Yeah.
So. All right, so good. So for those of you that have listened to Matt Sartor's podcast from Totara Construction, Jasper was the other one that was on that big build on Grand Designs with him, and you know, he was strategically parked his ute on TV, so it was seen in the driveway for a bit of advertising and stuff, I noticed.
We'll have to get Luke on the other side to do the trio. I think it's only fair. So I'll tell him when he gets back from his holiday.
Sure.
You're coming on.
Yeah.
So
how was that experience? Did you end up staying over there any nights as well? Because obviously the travel and everything getting over to the lake.
No, it wasn't too bad for us. Like, those guys are over there for like a whole year. So that's when it can get really niggly. We were only over there in, short bursts, so we'll go over there for a week and then come back, and then another week. So the guys didn't mind it so much, where I think if it was week in, week
out, yeah.
Then it would really...
Different story.
Yeah, make it a lot harder. Yeah.
I suppose there was no room for you guys too, because they'd already taken up all the spare beds anyway.
Yeah, I mean, we could have asked top and tail, but builders are quite... touchy about their space sometimes. So,
And what was the grand, like you weren't really on camera, but did you have any experience working with the TV crews and stuff, or not so much?
Yeah, no, it was pretty good. It was a good experience. Epic build, amazing clients. That's the main thing, and that's generally where most of Matt's clients we've dealt with great clients too. So awesome people, which makes the whole experience for us and them, better when you can create a bond as well, and you sort of know what they're after, and what they want to achieve, with their home, especially with lighting, because you can just put a whole lot of lights in the house and make it as bright as, but if they want to set different moods for different areas, then
like a chandelier over a bathtub.
Yeah.
That was a big part of the show.
It was.
Could have had that chandelier over the bathtub in the master.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I could just say, yep, let's do it. But we've got, with building, we've got a lot of rules and regulations that we've got to go around. So just finding a way to be able to make it happen. With that one, that one there was just a 24 volt light now. So we just changed the whole fitting to make it a 24 volt instead of 240. So
yeah, is that because of the moisture, the condensation coming up onto it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because I did wonder that there'd be a bit of a fire hazard or like sparking out.
Yeah, and the building inspector wasn't impressed by it. I had to try and explain to him that this actually was legal. We could do this because of A, B, and C.
Okay.
And then
rather than just saying no, we can't do it, you found the way to make it work for your clients.
Yeah, and that's a simple thing, for us. But that's pretty much all she wanted. So I was like, we have to make that happen.
Yeah, you do. When somebody's got this vision and it's like they've got it so strong in their mind, it's like I've worked my ass off for my career and I just want a bath with this chandelier over the top. You just got to do it.
Yep.
Just figure out how.
It wasn't hard.
Good job.
Yeah. So, but we had to wait for the chandelier as well, so that was a hard thing.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, here's a picture of it. I'm like, cool. Right, well, let's get it so we can change the bits we need and make sure we've got the stuff in the right places. And, she was stoked. So that's the main thing. Yeah.
But yeah, for the pre-wire, it wouldn't have been too bad. Just run a wire up to it and then you got to deal with the rest when it gets there, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yep.
Yeah.
Almost a Sparky, this guy.
I got it, mate. I got it. I got a couple of bulbs out the front that need changing and then a fan in the bathroom, so I might just get onto that this weekend, actually.
my
I know there's no point calling you because you'll be hunting, so I have to do it myself.
Not this weekend, home this weekend. I was away last weekend.
When I was demoing the house, my Sparky was like pulling like his hair out. Doesn't have much hair, but rusty. But yeah, he was like, "Oh my God, Gabs, come on." Yeah.
The old houses are like you can get some old places too, which are real interesting. We're just at the moment pulling apart an old farmhouse down on one of these farms and having to pull all the old stuff out, and you can see where they've added little bits, and you're like, what was he doing here?
I've had like 3-4 different types of electricals in my home, like all sorts of it, like all covered in tape, because it's 165 years old. So when I was going through each different space, I'd see how like the old school and then all the way through, but we gutted the whole thing and it's all rewired because we weren't going to work with that.
Fair enough.
Are your walls jibbed now? You jibbed your walls? Or?
Yeah.
So you got in the modern way?
Yeah, it's all modern.
Got all the scrimmage out of the walls?
Yeah, all gone.
It's not a big candle waiting to go up now. Walker man. Looks like Jasper's beard in there.
Yeah, then you're in trouble.
Yeah, watch out. We did just do the spare bedroom, so for guest room.
Oh, so good. So the Sparky stuff, obviously you've done for quite a while, and you started another business with your partner recently. Or it's not really, or is it more her thing?
More her thing, but we've got like a beard oil range, beard oil, balms, butters, shaving, like oils as well. So sort of started that a few years ago with one of her mates as well. He's got a beard and we're kind of looking at it and going, this is some of the stuff you buy is really expensive and pretty shit. So
what about beard care?
Yeah.
Like beard care. You're perfect model to have as
That's
a
what he's
beard
saying.
care.
That's what he's saying.
Oh,
Yeah,
like
like
beard
the oil.
care. Like
Yeah.
beard. Oh,
The
even.
oils and
Yeah.
everything.
No wonder why it's so luscious.
Is it luscious?
I was like, what's
Yeah.
the secret with it? Must be
For those of you watching on YouTube and stuff, comment below, does it look luscious?
Yes, it is. if you've got oh,
Yeah.
right. It's a lot of males overall goal. It's very
This is a
impressive.
quintessential Kiwi model that everyone's
Yeah,
what is
there
here.
you go. So started that, and well, it's mainly her, but she'll like put stuff together and try different recipes that she's got, and it's been a bit of a process, but sort of really started would have been a couple of years ago now. Actually, selling the stuff, setting everything up, and go from there. And last year we entered the Beard Awards, which was like a whole lot of men's care products. Most of a lot of the stuff was from Australia and here, and won a few categories in there. I think we won best oil, best butter and balm, and got runner up in moustache wax as well. So pretty much cleaned up where we wanted to. So this year hopefully we'll have something similar. I think we've got to go. They're asking one of us to go and speak or something in one of them. So
You're a natural, so you'll be right up there.
Yeah.
You've got to show up there with the beard for the conversation. You can't have you can't have your partner standing there like, it's not the right look.
Nah. Yes, I'll probably have to go and do that one. She's not.
Obviously, she's a fan of beards.
Yeah. I guess girls they are or they aren't.
Yeah.
And thanks to Vikings, I think a lot more girls are now.
Yeah.
The TV show, of course, not just where you came from, but
Yeah. So no, you do get it. You get a bit, and you get if you go out for a few drinks or something, you get a drunk lady come up and just want to grab it and, and stuff like this. And
sorry, man.
Jace,
what about the beard?
Yeah. Jace has to push them away from me, and it's all
Security.
Good. Yeah.
That's the only reason I'm clean shaven, because if I had a beard too, I wouldn't be able to defend him.
Yeah. He grows an epic moustache, so doesn't he?
He does.
Yeah. Might have to get you to grow it back.
Yeah, well, November's coming up. Shall I start now?
Start now, man. Start now.
Just grow a big curtain down to my chin
I can take you up to the Beard Awards for a
for a moustache off.
yeah.
I haven't done the wax thing. I could get the big curly.
We could get it. I reckon we could get it sweet as. Yeah.
Yeah, so good. Yeah. So anyone who's got some spare change, November's coming up. Just keep adding it up together. I'm looking for donations.
Yeah.
A few months on.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. So you're selling quite a lot of product. What's the name of that company?
Kinsman.
Kinsman.
Yep. So
Where's that name come from?
I don't know. I wasn't part of that conversation. I was just like, yeah, that's cool. I like it.
Yep.
Well, kin just being family, So it was, and having a bit of Viking ancestry. So that was always helps to grow a beard, I suppose.
Yeah. So anyone with a little bit of facial hair can just find that at what kinsman.co.nz.
Yep. So website, Instagram. She takes care of that. So it's good. Get a lot of positive feedback. We're in quite a few barbers around New Zealand, which is also good. So I think we're in a couple. We try and stick to like just a couple in each region, so we're not everywhere. So a couple in Auckland, couple in Tauranga, Wellington. So slowly creeping around the place and getting into more and more.
Yeah, I haven't got to personally use the products, but I did get a candle once. I was meant to get two, but I think Jasper burnt one of them, so they made some candles too, and I've got to say the candle was pretty good.
Yep.
I'm okay with the candles. Mother's Day coming up, actually, I should buy a couple of candles for my office.
There you go.
Yeah, not for Mum. No, I'll just put them in here.
Yeah. So that's just something else to venture in. She was like, "Should we try this? Do you reckon it'll be a business?" And I was like, "Well, you don't know until you give it a go." And being a mum as well, she doesn't have a lot of spare time. So got two boys, so they're both pretty full on. So between that and looking after that and doing design stuff that she does, she's pretty 100 miles an hour, really.
Yeah. So you're both biting off more than you chew. So I'm not the only one who does it.
No. Well, I mean,
I surround myself with busy people.
I don't want to do it in another 40 years' time, so I might as well do it now and go hard, and try and do a few things where we can. Yeah,
for sure.
Yep.
And how are you for staff with the Sparky stuff? Like, you're looking for guys at the moment. If there's anyone listening that, or you're pretty right with going into a recession, you're pretty comfortable with your levels.
Yeah, I've got a really good crew at the moment, but I'm always open to conversations. Like, if I find the right guy, I'll find the work to fulfill that. I believe so. Anyone that kind of wants to venture into the high end stuff and loves to learn, always use it. Using new stuff and trying new bits, and give us a call, and we should be able to tee something up if you're the right fit.
Yeah, well, you can start grooming my son, Callan. He's still waiting for a nice house to come look through because he wants to be a Sparky. His house.
I was a bit worried when you were telling me to groom your son.
Yeah. Well, his bedroom already looks like a strip club. So Jasper made my deck look like a strip club, and
was
then
by your request, not mine.
It's good too. It's good. Yeah.
Would you call that high end?
High-end strip club, mate.
And then so Callan's done that to his own room on his own accord. So
nice.
I call that client request.
Yeah. We just say yes. If the client wants it, we can make it happen.
That's so good. Need a few more actually. Hey, I should turn some lights off here and see what we can get going on.
Yeah.
I was like, we should do some themes going up and do a bit of revamp for in here. So we have to get you on for that.
Be good, yeah. Maybe once all the walls stop crying, so we don't get a shock.
Yeah, a bit of moisture around here, but
a little bit. Look, it's not a new office. Definitely not a new building. I think what they're expecting is someone will take the building or the car parks next door, buy this out, bowl the whole lot, and put something new up. It'll be a shame because this is an affordable office.
yeah.
But at that time, it'll be time for me to go and buy my own space and do what I would like to do.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. Next
You'll have
couple
a
of years.
Porsche then and a flash office. And
That's the goal. That's the goal. Man cave, Heineken on tap, driving simulator, all that stuff.
No, yeah, I like that. Yeah. We have done a driving simulator, actually.
Yeah?
Helped, did I show you the photos of that?
Is that your mate's one?
Yeah. You helped him out. It's a full like race simulator, screens, got the whole gyro set up. It's epic.
Yeah, that's what we need.
Yeah.
So for coming soon, we'll talk about it probably on the next podcast, what I'm doing with the business. We've already talked about it with my business partners, and driving simulator coming soon.
There you go.
Is it driving, like golf driving,
I
or
want
driving
both.
car?
I'll start with car because that's more in line with what we do, but
Yeah.
also would like the golf simulator because if you looked out the side,
Yeah.
so why not just have two back to back? Yeah.
But if you have a golf simulator, then you run out of excuses on the golf course.
To be shit at golf.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'd like to get better.
Well, you can't go the other way much. So at least you
Yeah.
enjoy yourself when you do it. That's the main thing. Yeah. So
I was better. I've got worse again, and I need to get better at. Need to get better than what I was previously at my best.
yeah, when he says his best, it's not that great.
I don't know. I've never played with him.
Yeah.
But I have played with Jasper, and it's very similar to how he plays. So
Yeah.
he's just being humble.
Just hit and hope.
Hood golf, like no, bro, that's behind the tree. Kick it out. Nah.
Oh, we're there to have fun. It's not serious. If we're playing for money, we might get a bit more picky on the rules, but might as well have a clear shot and make it.
It's more like Mario Karts when I'm out there, like with you.
Yeah.
The amount of crashes, the rubbish bins getting laid over,
There have been
people
a couple
getting
of
flung
mistakes.
off
Yeah.
things and rolling multiple times down drops.
Yeah, so if you want to come to the golf course, come in the golf cart with me. We'll have a good time. I think that's what he's getting
I'm
at.
used to rally cars, so it should be okay.
Very similar.
No, I've been in rally cars. It's a lot tamer.
They're in control.
Yeah, and less likely to flip.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe not.
That's all part of the experience, isn't it? Otherwise, you're not boring around the golf, so you can add some excitement to it. Why not?
Yeah. It's so good. So good.
Yeah.
Excellent. So what's some things that really get you excited other than work and hunting?
And the missus.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
miss. Yeah.
Just being outdoors, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like to, some people say they like to ground themselves, and like especially work can get quite stressful sometimes. Just going out and chilling out in nature just takes your mind all off that, even for half a day or something, and then you can kind of reset
Yeah.
And yeah, everything doesn't seem as bad as it did a couple of days ago, you know, when you're in the full, this is going on. Yeah, so...
puts things back to the basics of what it should be, just out in nature, I reckon.
Yeah. So that's probably the main thing. Just trying to be outdoors as much as I can. I think it's good for the kids too.
Yeah.
The young fella loves it, so that's the main thing. The other one's probably a bit young yet to take out hunting, but in another few months he'll be all right.
Yeah. Well, there's a saying, I don't know exactly, but it's kind of like you got to disconnect to plug back in. It's pretty much you got to disconnect from all the other stuff that's happening in your life, and mainly those phones and computers where you're constantly on demand anywhere you go these days. And you forget all about that stuff, and you can plug back into what's important to you, whether it be your family and other things, and just getting out there and getting your mind straight. And there's a lot to be said for it, right?
Yeah, most of the guys I know that have too much going on all the time and get fully stressed out, they don't have an outlet. Like I know a lot of boys that go surfing, they'll go fishing. As long as you've got something, just to be able to take a step back for, even if it's for an hour. No,
yeah, it's important. Needed. Yeah, recharge.
Yeah, you use your jiu-jitsu for that. I'd like to say I use golf, but I think I leave there more frustrated than I arrive. So maybe mountain biking.
It's not stress-free.
Yeah.
But no, jiu-jitsu's like my young fella, he's 4, he's loving jiu-jitsu.
Oh, excellent.
Mrs. she does jiu-jitsu, so...
Oh, awesome.
She loves it, he's into it, so that's a cool, activity that they can go and do together.
I think it's so important, especially for the young kids, like any sort of martial art, I don't care what it is, just like it's taekwondo, judo, jiu-jitsu, karate, it's so good for their confidence and just the ability to achieve and realize that like not everything's easy, but if you keep continually working hard, you're going to get there and you're going to constantly achieve. And you see the looks on kids' faces when they get they grade up and they're absolutely ecstatic. And I've got kids that come into the practice and they're doing a different martial art form than what I do, but they've started because they're like, oh, you do martial arts, I'm going to do it too. And they're like, look, I graded to yellow belt and all this, and they're so ecstatic and so proud. It's awesome. I love seeing it. Yeah. I think it's so cool getting kids into that. Yeah,
it's good for their character too, like just doing the same thing over and over again until they get it.
Yeah.
A lot of people just give up too easy on things. So,
well, the beauty of the grading is that you actually have to get to a certain level before you get to proceed, right?
Yeah.
Which is what's wrong with Earth right now. Oh, participation awards go to, there's no winners and losers in this team. Well, why should I work any harder? If we all get the same thing, why would I strive to be any better than what I already am?
Yeah, and I'm already trying to teach them, like, you want to win. Like, if you're doing something, why not want to win? But at that age, the hardest thing's when they lose. It's like...
But the catch is, this is where the catch, and I was actually talking to a client about it today. It doesn't actually matter. The emphasis actually has to be taken off the winning, the first place. As long as you put in as much effort as you possibly could, trying to achieve your absolute best to win, and you come second and somebody did the same but bet you, you should be proud and be like, well done, they bet me. And I put everything on. Guess what? It doesn't mean they're any worse. It means that they need to figure out what they need to do to improve. So it's figuring, but when there's got such a huge emphasis on the winning, they may not have done actually very good effort on the achievement and they've won, whereas the issue comes wrong with that. So I feel like the emphasis on trying to win and do the absolute best that they possibly can without it being at the end goal. It's the effort.
The win should be the personal development or the personal growth rather than, I bet someone specifically.
Yeah.
So, I've shown up and I did my best and I fought someone that was above my grade or experience level.
And I happened to get the number one spot.
Yeah, or if I still lost, I still held my own against someone that had far more experience than me. So I'm pretty good.
So it's a big win. I'm still trying, but you're always still trying to win.
Yeah. Well, I did a lot of BMX, like racing when I was younger, and that was I was always either first or second. It was always me and another guy, and you always wanted to. So we had like that whole rivalry, and that was my focus was what's he doing that I could get better, and that was when I was quite a lot younger. So I think that helps, for it as well.
Growth,
Just as, not knowing it all and being like, okay, what's he doing that I'm not doing? If you're injured, sit out, watch what he's doing. Okay, sweet. I'm not doing that. I'll try that and see if that makes a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jed Meldon was talking about that quite a lot. If we rewind almost 20 podcasts,
Yeah, it was
I think it's about 20 podcasts now.
It was one of the
One of the beginning ones,
ones.
but that's where he's a firm believer, and rightly so. If you look at, like, when we were BMXing back in the days too, like, a backflip was the trick. Like a backflip, a 360 and a tail whip, you're a professional.
Yep.
If you've got those 3 tricks in your bag. Now kids are doing it at 14. Like, kids are doing double backflip tail whips at 14, 15 years old, because they've been able to sit back and watch and witness and observe. And when you see that, you now know it's possible, rather than like when Jed did the first triple flip or the first quad flip, he was the first person in the world to be doing it. So I was like, wow, I think this is possible, but I've got to send it and put my body on the line and everything else. And once someone's seen it, it's like, well, it's been done, I reckon I can do it. So yeah, that importance of sitting back, watching and learning and observing is amazing.
So it's just sort of, that's what I enjoy anyway, because you can learn a lot faster from other people's mistakes than making them yourself.
Yeah, it costs you a lot less. Pain, tears, money, all sorts of things.
No, that's for sure.
So do you go online for your electrical stuff too? This has just got me off on a tangent. Do you just go like hobby kind of watch things for inspiration online by people that you're like, well, they're doing some pretty cool stuff in the electrical space, or do you just figure it out?
Most of the time we get sent stuff by clients,
Yeah.
and it's from overseas, and they're like, can you do this? I'm like, yep. And then I'll have to try and find that product, try and find where it's come from, try and find that, where that video's from.
Yeah, cool.
And then try and find out, what stuff they've used to be able to make that happen. And then see if it's legal to do that in New Zealand, because a lot of these countries where they've got heaps of cool stuff, they don't have the same regulations we do.
Yeah,
we're pretty tough here.
So you could do it, it's just a matter if it's legal.
Have you got some examples of some stuff kind of like that you've had to go out and find or sort of adapt other than the chandelier?
Like, you'll know, like the LED strips that you've got.
Yeah.
But there's ones that you can get that'll actually individually turn on as they go, so you almost like got a line lighting up, across the room and back.
Oh yeah, they're cool.
Rather than just it being on, so being able to try and make that happen, which turns out it's pretty easy.
Yeah.
So it's just not cheap.
Is that in the programming, or is that a specific LED?
Yeah, it's just different.
Does it have a sensor as you go down, or?
No, it's just how you set it up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You can't program them, eh? Yeah.
You can program anything you want these days.
Do you follow Adrian Portelli in Aussie?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's got it in his garage. When you walk in the garage, and he's got them all the way through, and they go.
Are they the Hex ones?
Yeah.
No, they're different.
No, they're like big strips, but like his ones start at the ground, come up across the roof, and he's got multiple of them. So you walk in, and they're all doing different things. And
oh, cool!
Yeah, it's way cooler than my deck. That's what I'm looking for the next build.
Yeah.
For the new office in a couple of years' time.
Yeah, then it'll be on.
Once I make $1. Yeah.
Well, I like it. It's like the chandelier above the bath. You put it there, and then naturally you're like, oh shit, I've achieved it. Sick. You've got to have that vision there, or else you don't achieve it.
Yeah, no, that's it. Yeah. So we've made what did I make a deer antler chandelier out of a whole lot of cast antlers for a client.
Oh yeah, and I want that too.
Did you hunt them, the deer, or
no, they're cast antlers, so they're the ones that fall off.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So,
can you buy those, or you just find them?
I just got them off a fella I know down Horapido.
Okay.
So I just gave him a call. I told him what I was after, and he's got a.
Is he farming them so they've dropped off?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I could just go through like a big pile and find the ones I wanted, kind of thing, and that was pretty cool. So
yeah, Anna's always been into that, and I like it too, but I don't think it would suit our current house.
Nah.
But with the right home, that would be cool.
Yep.
Over the pool table or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, with the deer that you'll shoot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
I have to. My wife and I have just gone through the process of getting our firearms license. So, it's been a long journey, but it's long and slow, but definitely it's something I'm into, big time.
Yeah.
But it's got so much like the same. It's quite cool that you take young fellas out. It's like me with rallying. Like I was always into it, but I had no foot in until somebody kind of took me under their arm a little bit, which was really cool. And it grows this whole kind of building and growth for that person too. So it's really cool that you do that.
Yeah. Even with a lot of guys that have been doing a lot of hunting, sometimes I won't even take my gun with me. I'll just take the binoculars and I'll find deer or help them, with a radio, guide them in on something. Pretty cool. I reckon that's just as fun as shooting them.
Yeah.
When you shoot a lot of them, it's hard to find that real buzz to every single one, like when you're just collecting for food for the family. Yeah.
It's the same as like the guys when we're marlin fishing. They're like, yeah, bro, you're on the rod.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you sure? Like, yeah, I've caught plenty. Like, I don't need that workout. You get it, mate. You get it.
Yeah.
You fight that thing. And it's cool to have that fight. But yeah, once you've done it a few times, do you need that much of a workout?
Yeah.
And that's obviously what you're doing when you go and shooting them. Like sometimes you've got quite a walkout. Quite a walkout. I know you're telling me a story recently when you were out and, with a young guy and you shot something and had to go for a walk and he went for a vehicle and you're out there for quite a while.
Yeah, there's been a few of those. I took one guy out this Easter, so you got the raw for deer, which they go pretty wild for, and he was after a stag, so managed to get one for him right on sort of dark. Went down, checked it out, got some photos. It was a really cold night, so we managed to, leave it under a tree, cut it out and leave it under a tree for the night, and the next day was he reckoned he could carry it. He would have been about 78 kgs. It probably would have been about close to 100. So showed him how to make it into a backpack. Tried to get in there, tried to stand up with it. No go. So then just had to try and do the whole process of, showing him the process of getting it all sorted out there and getting into bags and backpacks and stuff and carting it out. So it was a bit of a mission, that's for sure. Sort of half a day's gone real quick, just hiking up hills. Yeah. But that's all part of it too. And he was stoked. You take them home. He was like, "Look, what I've got this. I've got this. I've got this. We've got food."
Yeah.
He's stoked.
Yeah, a lot of meat and something like that goes a long way.
Yep. Yeah, and it saves you a lot of money at the supermarket.
Oh, especially if you're buying.
It's good quality too.
Yeah, if you're going to buy venison at the supermarket, you've cracked it.
Yeah.
You've done something pretty right in your life if you can afford to buy that.
Yeah. So it's we save a lot of money by I spend you always spend it elsewhere doing other stuff, but if you can have a hobby that you enjoy doing something, it's it puts food on our table, my parents' table, my sister's table. My brother always takes home a feed back to Wellington, amongst all the friends and family that we've got that have always got some here.
Yeah, it's really cool. We've been fortunate enough to that. We've always been like, "Oh, Gabs, do you want a cow?" And we're like, "Yep, sweet." So we've got cow and a home kill of different types, which is really fortunate. It makes a huge difference. Huge.
Yeah.
But it's nice knowing exactly where your meat comes from.
Yeah.
Has anything been put into it? No.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well, that's what we're talking about just actually before you got here is I'm horrified at the quality of eggs now that they've killed all the chickens and pushed them into a hole in New Zealand.
Oh.
The eggs that we're getting, like if you told me they were fake, they're made in a factory, I'd believe you. Like the eggs we had like all the eggs we've been buying, you go to crack them, they almost disintegrate in your hands. You go to split them in half and they just almost turn to mush. Like I dropped a couple in the water when I'm trying to poach them because they're so thin, there's nothing to grab.
Yeah.
But the yolks, like that Porsche sign behind you, that bright yellow, that's what some of the yolks have been like. I don't even want to eat this fucking thing. Like, what is this? And they're $1 each. They're $12 a dozen now.
Yeah, well, we have chickens and the market for chickens and ducks have gone through the roof. Things that they're bidding, like we've never seen it before, bidding on chickens. Like even unhatched chickens, it's a bidding war. It's crazy.
Who's bidding? Are you selling them on the black market or?
No, they're on Trade Me, and they're like, used to be like, okay, this was the price and it was cheap. Yeah. Now the astronomical price, that's the start price.
Yeah.
And it's a bidding war. Whoever's going to pay the most. It's crazy.
Are you buying them because you eat a few of your own chickens and you got to replace them?
No,
or-
we don't eat any chickens.
Just the eggs?
My wife only will eat the eggs. Any animal we've had, she refuses to eat it.
You can't give them a name.
No, she gives them all names. She's like, I just want them and this, and then I'm like, they're dinner.
Come here,
And
Charlotte. Come here.
And then so we don't eat our chickens. We just have them for eggs and pets, and they live their life once they've done their jash until they die, and then they go underneath a tree and help provide the nutrients to the tree that we plant for them.
What's the lifespan of a chicken? I've never...
Quite long, actually.
They'll have a few years.
When they're happy, it's quite long.
Yeah.
So we got some when they were like 2 years old, and then they're about 7 years old now.
Yeah.
So they're getting right up there.
And they're still churning out eggs for you, or are they just...
They do when... Funny fact, actually. They weren't for a while. They just were duds, and then we were real light, and then we just chucked a leg of lamb out there, and then we just got this huge overproduction of eggs again. Yeah, it was quite cool. It was one of our leg
Carnivore diet, see?
Even chickens
Works.
aren't vegan.
Carnivore diet.
Well, we searched it. We were happened to be online and watching for
The roof's going to cave in on top of you, Jasper.
A few trips there.
its character. We watched this thing on Instagram and TikTok or whatever, and they're like, a lot of the feed's not actually that nutritious. Try chucking them some meat, and we had an old leg lamb bone that Abby normally uses for bone broth, and she chucked it to them, and it just...
I'd be full of
Next
nutrients,
day,
being broth and stuff.
not kidding you, next day we had another like 5 more eggs than what we would have. It was like crazy.
And going back to my egg discussion, so when you crack those eggs, they're nice and solid and firm?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're not thick.
Fuck you, New Zealand government. Give us our food back.
Need to buy some chickens, man.
It's fucked up what they're doing to our food supply in this world right now.
Yeah.
Was it like 200 factories in America just burnt to the ground?
They had
Or
the one in Hamilton as well.
Yeah.
So, whoops. Yeah, it's
And
not coincidence.
When you actually look at the one in Hamilton, it had a whole pile of different wings as well.
Yeah.
That you're like, how did a fire start over side left, and it's in the left wing, and it's all the way in the right wing? How? When it's got this whole big long corridor and it's all gone.
Hay on the
sawdust.
floor, hay does go up.
Yeah, true.
Yeah,
Actually,
all
in saying
all
that,
that sawdust on the floor would be
and
a kiln, wasn't it?
and if in saying that though, my house is when I gutted that, it's a old cowdy, and when I did the burn pile, that went up like a match.
Is this when you got the
No. That was
this guy with the leaf blowers learnt how to get a fire going pretty good?
Oh, yeah, they work okay.
They work really well. That was on
I was waiting for it. I was waiting for it.
too.
I was like, I don't know if it's working. And you're like, doing it. I was like, okay, yeah, it's starting to go now. But all the ash is blowing back on you. I was like, is it worth it?
No, I had too much ash in that anyway. That's why I had to get that out, because I couldn't be bothered emptying it. But
was it nice, like breathing all that ash in as it blew back on you?
oh no, it was just going past me like this, like
Too much here.
Can't touch this. You're right, mate. You're getting a bit wet.
Yeah,
Do you want your umbrella you walked up here with?
No.
For anyone that's looking on the camera, this cunt, excuse my language, walked up here with his umbrella. Didn't want his beard to get frizzy.
Whoa. It was. I didn't.
hey, he's got beard or it'll run off. Okay,
It'll hold on to there. It's water repellent.
But I did say to him, I'm glad you walked up here because I felt like a bit of a dick when I walked out of my office earlier with my umbrella, but it's being hosing down.
Yeah. Well, I thought I had a jersey in my truck, so I was like, oh yeah. And then luckily I found an umbrella, so it was. Otherwise, that would have been
Jersey umbrella, same thing.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So no, it's definitely shit out there. It's had a horrible summer, so it's
Yeah, so we might as well have a shit winter too.
yeah. Well, hopefully it's cold. Get some snow on the mountains.
Yep.
make it worthwhile.
Yeah. So
Yeah, but I sold my snowboard after the last time I broke my wrist, so I don't know what I'm going to do with all that snow.
make snow angels.
Yellow ice cream.
Go tobogganing.
Snow cones.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah. But
So do you ever hunt anything else other than deer, or just mainly deer?
used to do a lot of pig hunting.
Yeah.
Do like in the weekend we did a lot of game bird hunting. So
Yeah.
like on a lot of these farms, there's just an abundance of geese, Canadian geese, turkeys, peacocks, like all stuff that you can eat, but they're just eating grass for the farmer, you know.
So he
all
wants
a
them
pest.
gone.
Yeah, they're all
Yeah.
pests. So
So the farmer's like, you obviously got a good relationship that you
Yeah.
go, hey,
yeah,
yeah, cool.
yeah. So we've got a few farms that we can go to, which is quite lucky, and just go and do almost, you know, what do we get? We got a whole lot. I think we got about 20 birds in the weekend. So, like turkeys there's a lot of meat on them, even if you're just breasting them, and can feed quite a few people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, even the fact, like, the thing that I love about our little lifestyle property is any food that we don't eat goes to the chickens. The chickens then provide us with lots of eggs.
Yeah.
Like, we have zero wastage other than, like, the packaging.
Yeah.
It's called the circle of life, Simba.
Yeah. So if it wasn't for supermarkets, would be completely regenerative,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And it's a bit hard to buy what you want if it's got no packages, but it all goes back. We've got no waste scraps.
Yeah.
Scrap waste. It's really
Yeah.
cool.
And I think after the last few years in this country, that's what so many Kiwis are trying to achieve.
Yep.
You know, people are moving to Taranaki and Whanganui and places like that. They're just trying to get out wider and,
Yeah.
and live off their own supplies. And
I think it's important.
rightly
though.
so.
Well, it's like when you go out to the bush, you get to go home and you're outside in your own tiny little paddock, but you're like, oh, this is mid. You know, you just take in the nature of that, and you're like, you don't have to go out to the kaimais or in like deep scrub. You're like, you get it every night.
Yep.
I couldn't live back in where I've got neighbours right beside me. That's just me though.
Yeah, neighbours wouldn't want you there.
No, they
Doing
wouldn't
your
want me there. I'm like one of
bonfires and trying to do wheelies on your little pit bikes and everything you're always up to.
And also my wife's like, I heard you coming all the way down from the bottom of Belt Crow Gas.
Yeah.
You need to drive slow. I was like, I was driving slow. It was a speed limit.
Yeah. And
Didn't
first
sound
gear.
like it. Pop, pop, pop.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, a lot of like you getting a gun license and the missus. There's a lot of people out there that are getting into it, or just wanting their license for either to go some sort of hunting, get familiar with a gun, going out doing some activities.
I think it's the adult's version of the driver's license. I really think, it's like one of those things that becomes quite freeing where you can really provide for yourself and your family. You're like, yeah, this is really mint.
Yeah,
This is awesome.
yeah, especially if you're into it. Like a lot of people there's a lot of people that don't like hunting, and they're like, oh, you're just murdering animals and stuff. But it kind of in a way it is. Like, they have a good life. You got a free wildlife.
Yeah,
and you get taken out like that.
Yeah,
There's
and it's
the
a kill
other
shot. It's not
options.
like you're torturing the animal or anything.
They're not
It's a-
stressed
it's a
beforehand.
straightforward-
They don't know that it's about to happen.
No.
Yeah.
Generally they don't know what's coming, and then boom, it's over. The other option is they die of old age or die of an injury, or you see stuff get caught in fences, or it kind of is one of the best options I've got, really, as a wild animal.
And let's be honest, most of the people that are really upset about that animal being eaten are also the tree huggers. And the reason that you're out there culling a lot of these animals is so that our native forest can stay alive, right? Like a lot of these introduced animals.
Well, they all are.
Yeah, and for that reason, they're killing our native vegetation and other things.
Yep. So it's amazing when you go into a place like if you do a big cull on a property or something, and you go back a few years later, like just the growth of the trees underneath it.
One thing I'm like astounded by is the damage that possums do. They are gnarly animals.
Sharp little buggers.
Someone's like, oh, she eat meat. I was like, I don't want to touch the possum after killing it. They're foul.
Yeah.
Like personally, I'm not. I eat the meat, and I'm not. Nah.
I've never heard of anyone eating possum.
I had a guy wanting me to leave all my bodies for him, and he was going to come and eat it.
Maybe dog food or something like that, but not so much.
Yeah, dog, but he was wanting personally.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, yeah, no, I can't be bothered. Yeah.
Yeah. But a lot of people eat goats too. I don't really eat goat.
Yeah. Goat's actually a really beautiful meat. Like in Barbados, it was really popular. It's actually the world's most popular meat.
Yeah, because they live anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can keep goats wherever you go. If it's cold, it's hot. You can have a goat.
Yeah.
Cliffside grass, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They eat bugger all.
I like goat. It's nice, but I wouldn't keep a goat.
Do you like grass-fed goat or like tin-fed goat? Or
obviously not tin.
They pretty much eat anything. They eat through fences, you name it.
Yeah, so. That's why I'm like, I don't want to go.
I don't know about eating those.
They'll eat all the good stuff first, though. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But,
So going back to like the pest thing, so here's a quick question that all our city slickers drive along. We see a hunting vehicle and it says "fuck 1080" on the back of it. Can you explain to us why 1080 is an issue to us dumb city slickers?
Well, it's just it's probably more so a lot of the hunters or people don't like it is that it's just dumped by helicopter, by the ton.
Yep.
Just over everything, and pretty much anything that comes in contact with it will die.
Sure. So we're talking birds, possums,
they say birds
deer.
don't, but we've been places that have been 1080'd and you find dead birds, like a lot of dead birds.
You'll find obviously native birds too.
Yep. Yeah, they say it doesn't, but I don't know what's the best option. I think that if you got rid of it as an option, they'd pretty quickly come up with a plan B that would be a better option. Generally you've got to take something off the table and be like, okay, that's not working. We've been dumping tons and tons of this stuff. It's banned in every other country. We've been doing it for 30 odd years, or probably I think it's longer than that. So is it making an impact? Is there a better option? And I think until they take that off the table, we're probably not going to find another solution, because we are the only. I'm pretty sure we are the only country that still uses it.
What's the main pest they're trying to eradicate with that? Is it rats or possums?
Yeah, possums. They say not deer, but deer definitely affected by them. Pigs, basically any pest.
Yeah.
Eat it. But
So anything that's alive.
Yeah.
Because you can't if
Anything
it's
that's
going to kill a
You can't
if it's going to kill a deer
between
it's
a native.
Yeah, it's probably going to kill a human. It's walking through it. If it's that toxic, it's going to kill a deer, and you're in there at the same time.
And I think where a lot of hunters don't like it is the fact that how just aimlessly it's dumped. And they say they stay well away from waterways, but you go into some places and it's all through the waterways. It's everywhere.
Yeah. But farmers are the problem.
Which means it's actually highly toxic to humans too.
Yeah, well, I don't know anyone that would eat one to prove that it's, they say it's not, when they say it's not.
I know, but it will be. If it affects them, they've got a nervous system, it will affect a human.
Yeah.
100%.
And they do say it's only for, it's really good for areas that you can't walk to or it can't be trapped or, the people can't do it. But there's being dumped in areas where guys recreational hunt every weekend. So it is, if you can hunt an area, you can trap an area.
Yeah.
Most of around Lake Taupo is dumped. They've been putting it everywhere. And if you go we used to have a batch in Pukawa Bay, which is down the bottom end of by Turingi, around the Western Bays there, and that place isn't. That's basically the only plot around Taupo that hasn't been dumped, full of 1080. And that's because I've had a trapping system in there that does the whole outside area of the hillside, and then a whole lot of tracks running down with pest traps. And you go down there, the bird life is deafening.
Yeah.
The amount of wood pigeons, tuis, Everything is just like, it's actually,
Sounds
you can't
really
have a
beautiful.
conversation with someone if you're out on the deck, because you'll see wood pigeons just flying in left, right, and centre. Like, it's actually crazy.
Wow.
And
You've just ruined it for all the locals because everyone's going to go and want to visit that now.
Yeah.
All 14 of our listeners.
Yeah. So it's a really cool spot. And we used to do a lot of trap lines there when we were there.
Yeah.
And still do. Like, if I'll go down there and one of the guys is going to check some lines, I'll try and jump in with them and go check some.
So do the locals just look after the traps? They just go.
Yeah. There's a lady there, Jean. She's the OG. Started it many years ago, and she still tries to get out there, and she'd be in her late 80s, I believe, or 90s.
Yeah, nice.
She still goes out. I think there's certain traps that are certain lines that people have banned her from because it's just too. Like, we're not talking like a beaten track here. We're talking like it's a pretty gnarly track, some of these. So it's pretty cool to see. Like, it's all, no one's paid. It's just all the local community going out there. They'll check a line like once every couple of days. There's quite a few. So it shows, like, when you've got a community of, say, 20 people, 15 people that live there, if they can keep this whole area under control, it is doable by
as a hobby, not a full-time job as well. Yeah,
it's not hard to walk a line, an hour line once a week to check on it. Even if it's once a fortnight.
Yeah.
And if more people did that, then we wouldn't have to dump a whole lot of poison.
It's just so frustrating to hear, isn't it? So it's fine to dump all that stuff, which is killing all these animals and running into river streams and all the rest of it. But if you own a farm, you're a criminal, and all the other things that are happening in this nation.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, like, you don't want a whole lot of dairy runoff running into all the rivers and streams.
No,
but
of course you don't.
Then you get an event like this, and you're going to have a whole lot of, like, Auckland today will have a whole lot of sewage running everywhere, all over the beaches, and, like, the council's not held responsible for that, but the farmers, if they get an event like this, they'll be prosecuted.
They'll hear about it. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
all the crayfish
double sanders big time.
Yeah, all the slash that's on the beaches down in Gisborne and stuff like that, and all the crayfish and stuff.
Greenies vanish. Like, that's their responsibility. It's
what we're looking for, listeners, is some common sense around these topics.
Yeah.
It's really that simple.
Some things that have been done a long time for a reason, because it's probably the best reason.
Creating burn piles with a little bit of carbon going into the atmosphere is probably a lot better than having a whole lot of towns wiped out and have to be rebuilt by tractors and diggers and all sorts.
We saw this in Aussie, didn't we? The bushfires they had a couple of years ago. The reason that happened was they used to do controlled burns and put fire breaks through it all, and the greenies stopped the controlled burns because that was too dangerous. So what they got was an entire summer of bush burning down, millions of animals dying and all the rest of it, and houses and people driving into lakes because the fires were coming at them so fast they drove their cars into them to try and survive.
So hopefully we see a swing back, in the other direction, where instead of someone that has a good idea says, hey, we should do this, we might see more people going, well, actually, these guys have done it for the last 200 years. Maybe we ask them what the best ways to do it.
I think that's smart and accurate. On that note, I'm going to do a Joe Rogan. Do you know what it is? The pee break.
2.5 beers in, he's out of here.
Just to talk about it, eh?
It's such a name dropper. Just drops any old person's name in there. Did I tell you Joe Rogan and I? Yeah, we've both got shit bladders.
Both just like to take a piss.
Yeah. He takes a piss though because he's hilarious. He's a stand-up. No. Oh, funny. Is there anything else you want to cover off or anything? Or some fucking hilarious stories you want to tell or anything?
Well,
you've been talking a big game coming up to this.
Well, it's what you want to put on. Fuck, I'll talk about anything. But
I'm keen.
Yeah.
Might as well get myself another wine.
Yeah.
You're right in your Coke? I've got a Pepsi or something?
Yeah.
There's a bottle of water. You don't want some water?
No, it's all good. It's a wine, eh? What is it? Sav?
Kiwi, mate. Don't go for the Kiwi ones.
Yeah. Oh, Ned. Yeah, they are good. It is a good drop.
It's not a bad drop,
Yeah.
I used to only drink wine for a while, and I've started drinking a lot of beer, and I've been like real nasally, like phlegm, fucking sneezing.
Yeah.
So I think there's something.
You're
about
full.
It's funny when you laughed. I was like, we need to. I was listening so many on this podcast, and I was like, he does it all the time. I should just do that.
Drop straight out.
There you go.
If you hear those excuses coming back in, Gabs is like, oh yeah, no, Joe Rogan does it. It's fine if he does it. I'm going to start doing it. But if you've listened to any of our podcasts previously, you know that he's a chronic peer.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm a pal pisser. I build up. I'm good, and then all of a sudden, I need to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, fuck, I need to pee.
It's exactly
It's like having
2
a
beers
4-year-old.
in. It's like, uh-oh, daddy's got to go.
Yeah. It's just like comes over him. Oh. Joe Rogan.
Is that your safe word?
That's my safe word now. If I need to do it, I need to say Joe Rogan, and then you know where I'm going.
It's a jiu-jitsu safe word, like when you're folded it up like a pretzel, you're like, Joe Rogan, Joe Rogan.
No,
sorry.
no. Maybe at the
have a safe
start. No, you've got tap quick, or us.
Use it at home too.
When the wife's laying into me, us. No, I'm joking.
Yeah, that's all right. You'd be knocked out. There wouldn't be any time for it.
Classic.
There'd be smish.
Yeah.
So where were we? We're talking about the 1080 and stuff. What else you been up to, mate? You got any massive life lessons that have molded you? Because looking at this guy, he's fucking pretty intimidating, but he's one of the nicest guys I've ever met. He doesn't get out on the piss and get Lowry and stuff. He's always there to make sure that I make it home safe.
It's because you're a liability. I worry.
Fucking liability.
I don't look after
Just saying how it is.
Yeah. Are you on like Anna's payroll? Like, is that their arrangement?
Yeah. Well, sometimes it seems to be. Jesus. Yeah. It's no. It's no. I enjoy a good night out, but like it's a bit different. Like especially where like it kind of different. I've got a 4-year-old and a 7-month-old. Where you've got a 14-year-old.
Yeah, 13, 17,
Very different,
21.
eh?
So,
So my
you don't
21-year-old's
get up the
like,
next morning.
you gonna buy small cocktails, Dad? I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck yeah,
Yeah.
we're staying out.
Yeah. So I guess that's probably the biggest thing is just having a look after those critters. And when you're hungover, looking after a 4-year-old sucks because he doesn't give a shit.
No, he doesn't.
And he's like, let's go do this, let's go do this, let's do this, let's do this. And you're like, man, I just want to die.
Yeah.
But
And Bjorn is exactly like Jasper. He's just 4. And like I said, he looks like, he's got the big mullet. He's 100 miles an hour.
yeah.
He's a lad.
Yeah, no, he's definitely a lad. Yeah, loves hanging out with the boys, go and do things. Anything that you'd probably get in trouble for, most people would get in trouble for taking their 4-year-old to. I'm like, yeah, we can do this. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think your kids would get on well. You're
Yeah.
pretty full on. Got a little bit of land, got a few toys, motocross bikes, like just allowed to, rather than most of the kids these days, like tablet. You're sitting, mum and dad are going out, here's your device. And it's like,
Like, and he's
All the
not afraid
personality's gone.
to bail or to like learn by he's like, yeah, I can do this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, you can't do that. And he's like, yeah, I can. For example, like last year during docking, he's got one of those little electric KTMs.
Yeah.
And boosted up to the house I think he wanted to go to get something to eat. And when we're coming back down the hill, I was like, buddy, you need to be careful because this hill's a lot steeper than it looks. And he was like, yeah, I've got it. Just boosts off, pins off, full speed. I just look around the corner. I'm like, oh, shit. I just see legs, head, just somersaulting down this hill as he's just arsed off into the culvert, flipped back round. And he's like, he's just lying on the ground. And I was like, oh, no, how am I going to explain this to his mother? I was just like, wandered down to him. I'm like, how you doing? He's like, all right. He's like, I fell off. I'm like, no shit. I'm like, are you good? He's like, I think so. Had a little bit of a teary eye, and I was like, you're all right. And checked out. He's, just a bit of a scraped knee, scraped elbow, hand was a bit sore, but he was good. And I was like, he's like, I don't know if I want to ride down that again. I was like, bro, just this is why I said you just got to listen. But yeah, he's 100 miles an hour.
how old's he now?
4.
Yeah, about the
Yes,
same age. Kellen
same,
did a
yeah.
similar thing.
Yeah.
So Kellen would have been maybe 5, 6-ish, but we had a big steep driveway when we were renting while we were building our house. So our house is like coming up 7 years old. So he's 13, yeah. It would have been 6, 7-ish maybe. We were renting in Judea, and same thing. It was like Christmas. He'd got this bike, and he was like jamming down this hill. I was like, yeah, off you go, boy. And he's like jams down this hill, same thing. Just tank slaps it, fucking tumbles down a concrete driveway. Boof, 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 boof. And I'm like, run down to him like, that was sick, bro. Such a big crash. And he's like crying. He's just kind of like, yeah, cool, Dad. Like, fist pump. And it's like, that doesn't help. Like, he needs a cuddle.
Saying that though, it was quite funny. Like, Navy was running her across the paddock sprinting, and then he just caught a lower patch of like a little hole, clipped his front foot, and went poof. Yeah. I was like, oh, you're going super fast. And he gets up, he was thought about it, and he's like, sweet. Yeah. Like, it's not about being a thing. It's like, whoa, it was celebrating how fast he was going before the crash. And he was pushing himself.
Yeah.
And then I was like, but if he would really stacked it, he was like, I would have gone in there and getting like, okay, come on, buddy.
It was like Callan's big crash he had
the other day.
Yeah, so when we were meant to record this video with Jasper, Callan stacked it doing about 30 kilometres down some concrete steps, and his bike's still not repaired. He snapped the brakes off the handlebars and all sorts of stuff. But
have you watched the video yet?
Yeah.
Is it good?
Yeah, I can show you.
Oh, yeah, that's what I love about it.
This is like the Joe Rogan now, really hard out where he opens
can we just,
the video.
Can we just look up to it?
We'll just hook it up onto the screen.
Yeah. So anyway, he had a good slam, and then I was like, Snapchat Jasper, I'm like, yeah, I'm in hospital. He's like, oh, I can't wait till my kids start hurting themselves. So those are the stairs in the lakes, right?
Holy
so that's what he's
moly.
writing down. And here he is.
Oh, wow, and he's getting faster and faster. It just went out.
It was his first ride for the day, and it had been raining, so because there's wood on the edge of the steps. Yeah. So if I go back to the photo of, here's his shin and stuff, like he got 5 stitches in that, they glued his head up. So when we got to him, that's what he looked like. You know,
he had a good hurt.
Yeah, he was a bit hurt. But if we look at the stairs here, you see that's where his bike first collided. Yep. And you saw how quickly he got to there, because it's like instantaneous in the video. Yeah. So that's about 11 stairs that he fell.
That's a good effort.
Through where his bike hit till he sacked it onto the ground. Like
he'll live. You know, there's...
Well, he's already talking about doing it again.
Yeah.
He's like, I'll do it again. I'm like, oh, well, that's good. But, just maybe make sure they're dry. The good thing I'd instilled in him is just don't ride those stairs without someone watching you. Yeah. And it was never the fact that I thought he was going to crash on it there. I thought, I don't want you hitting the road doing 40 kilometres an hour and a car clips you. Yeah. Because that would have been far worse.
Yeah.
You know? But fortunately, he had gone and told his mate to come down and watch him, and his mate lived at the top of the hill. So they were able to come down with their first aid kit and give him some support while Anna got there. And then before I got, would have been 40 minutes till we got there.
Yeah.
When we got there, Anna had been ringing 111. No one answered for over 40 minutes. About an hour, she tried to ring 111. No one answered.
You should have said it was COVID related.
Yeah. If this is COVID related, who's talking to their neighbour?
Yeah.
We're on our way. But then there was a cop. So a cop had pulled someone over. And then, so Anna got him up. He couldn't, he was like, nah, don't move him. Like he's probably got concussion because he's bleeding out the forehead and stuff. Like he was trying to fall asleep, like because he was in shock. And we're like, okay, all right, what do we do? And we're waiting for an ambulance. And after a while, the cop just rang the hospital and said, look, they're coming in, treat him like an ambulance. I had to pick him up, carrying him down about 50 stairs. Fuck.
So you're lucky you go to the gym.
It's 48 kgs, a little bugger. Like it's quite a weight to carry down 50 odd stairs.
I've got the experience now. Don't wait for an ambulance. No. So
they're fucking clowns.
It's
not them, but there's just not enough support.
System. I see a lot of ambulance officers, and they're all like the system's screwed up. So, and they're completely overworked. Yeah. Completely under the pump and understaffed.
Well, it was mad at the hospital. Once we actually finally got seen to in the hospital, and we still ended up waiting there for about 40 minutes at the hospital before they took us in. I was like, yeah, possible concussion. And the lady comes out and goes, so they could see he was like trying to doze off, bleeding out his head, and she's like, oh, we probably need to see you. And she goes, I said, yeah, possible concussion. This was already rung in by the police. Like we were meant to be coming in and triage straight away. They're like, okay. Oh, wait a minute. Is anyone out here having heart issues? And this old guy's like, are you still having heart pain? Yeah. And he was there before us. Like, oh, we should probably get him in. So they rushed him in and then brought us in second. Like that poor guy could have died out there. Yeah. But when we got in, they're like, okay, we'll try and find you a bed. and they found a bed in the hallway, and we had to wait. Like, they were so overworked.
Yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Like, the hospital wasn't big enough for all of them. And it wasn't because people were sitting there with COVID or anything. Like, people were bleeding. There was guys there that axed their shins and all sorts of stuff. But what it was it was after a long weekend.
Yeah.
So a lot of people had hurt themselves throughout the weekend, and now, it's the work day.
Yep.
Oh, I can't come in, boss. I've got to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
And yeah.
But I don't know. It's all character building. When did I break my first bone? I think I must have been 6. At a BMX track, doing stuff with the old man. He didn't believe me. He made me bike home. And then the next day it was still really sore, so I had to go to the hospital. I think he felt pretty shit.
Yeah.
He was like, I was just pedaling with one foot. And he's like, you'll be all right. You'll be all right.
Yeah, suck it up, buttercup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
And Callum broke his first wrist last year, and, I've broken my left ankle twice, resulting in surgery, wrist resulting in surgery, like, bikes, eh?
Yeah.
So 2 BMX, 1 snowboarding, overextended shoulders. Gabs puts my shoulder in every month now.
Yeah.
Same son, mountain biking injury last year. He missed part of his rugby season because of mountain biking. He's missed his first game because of mountain biking.
Yeah.
Then you're looking like the club, like the team chat, and like, oh, sorry, Jake won't be in, or Tim won't be in, or all these names. Oh, he had a crash on his bike on the weekend. It's all these bike injuries.
Yeah.
No one's off because of rugby.
No.
It's fucking bikes, man.
It is. Yeah. I don't know if you just feel safer, where you're like, yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
Especially when you're with mates. You're like, I can do that. And it always ends pear shape for one person.
It's just the speed.
Yeah.
It's the speed in which you're doing it. Like Callum would have been doing 30 to 40 kilometres in that
He was
impact.
humming.
Yeah, he was humming. Like, he'd told me.
You saw it just take off on the video. He was going quick, and then it hit another 3rd, 4th, 5th gear.
Yeah.
Boom.
Well, I can show you the videos of him making it
real
on his
quick.
TikTok. So he'd messaged me recently, and he's like, I'm doing it without touching the brakes the whole way now, Dad.
No,
Sorry, TikTok, all sorts of shit starts popping up.
Hey, Daddy.
Side hustle, another one.
Okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like...
Another one of my companies.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean,
I'll show you after this. It doesn't matter in the podcast because no one else can see it. But yeah, he got to the point where he was riding those stairs without touching the brakes. He was hitting 150 stairs quick.
yeah.
Oh, he would have been
Quick.
humming.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be doing, I'd say, between 40 and 50 Ks at the bottom of those things when he spits out on the road. So yeah, in that impact. And like Cash had just had his boxing fight. No, he had his boxing fight a couple of days after his crash. But he's like, Kellen, you got to look after yourself, man. Like, that's worse than getting punched in the ring. And it is.
Yeah.
So much worse.
Yeah.
Concrete doesn't move. It's no padded gloves, no padded headgear. Like, yeah. Anyway.
Could have been worse.
Well,
He's all good.
He's fucking fine. Yeah, he's good. No, he's cool. Like, he's got a good story. He's got a few scars. Chicks will dig it as he gets older.
Yeah.
I tell him the story about how he used to ride downstairs when he's 13. What a pickup line. Yeah. You're like, that's good?
Check out my TikTok from when I was 13.
So you from just the time that we've been chatting, you've seemed to be like obviously a really hands-on father.
Yep.
So what's some of the biggest lessons you've learned throughout that time? So while we're all talking about our sons and everything.
I don't know. That's a hard one. I guess just trying to teach them to regulate their emotions better,
Yep.
so they don't end up like these crazies we've got at the moment.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah. All these guys that have got like 14, 15-year-olds. Just making them, aware of stuff and...
Well, I think going out into nature and doing those things, kind of regulating where they're doing, is a perfect way to start.
Yeah, and seeing real stuff, like...
Yep.
It's... And he calls people out, like he knows when someone's full of shit. He's like, that's not true. You don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I think like when people get called out by like a 4-year-old, when he took in a car Stantler, for a lot of people might not know, deer's antlers fall off each year.
And each time they fall off, they get another point.
Not
Ish.
Not really.
No?
Close. And sort of. They get bigger each year, you know, as they fall off. But a lot of people don't realise that. They fall off each year, and then they grow. As they're growing, that's when they're furry, that's in velvet, and then they rub that off. That's when they probably look the scariest.
When they're
rubbing the velvet off, because it's, you know,
Oh,
they
hanging
carry
off
blood.
them.
And that's hanging off, and they're red, and they look like almost like a zombie. So he took in a cast antler to daycare, and I was like, we can't have dead animal parts. He was like, this is not a dead animal part. They fall off each year. It's like, you know, a crab shedding its, you know, shell each year, or whenever they do. So he was trying to teach his teachers at daycare that antlers fall off naturally. It's not off a dead animal at all. And trying to show, you know, so the other kids learn that, the daycare teachers learn that. Just having that sort of, you know, knowledge about life and stuff that happens.
You know what's cool about that, what I'm getting from it? It's the fact that he had the confidence to say, no, this is what happens, that he was able to voice that. I think that's really cool to instill in a kid.
And just to have them get that confidence,
you
know, and that's hard, and you don't know if you're doing it right. I guess you don't know until you might know better. 16, 17, 18.
I don't think you'll ever know. This old saying used to be, given 5 years, you get the man. So the more you instill into your children when they're young, as a parent, especially as a father, I think is what you get out. And I believe, so far from what I'm seeing from Callan, that I'd put all those years into him. And I believe I've got a pretty good kid coming out, you know, like he's 13, he's got his first business, trying to sell gibbets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
He's hustling. He was hurt from his mountain bike, but he put all that time into building his website, loading stock. I'm really happy about that, everything. From here in, they're led by their mates and their circle of influence. So all you can do is hope that you've instilled in them that they've got good friends and a good circle of influence.
Yep.
Because, I've talked about it multiple times. You're 15 and your mate's going, oh, well, let's jump in this car and we're off to a party, and you don't want to be the one that says no or something. That's how you get caught up in some bad situations.
But even at 4, my son Maddox is already at kindy and going, oh, that's the mean kid. That's she's really lovely, or he's really lovely. He knows, and he naturally wants to instill, if it doesn't make you feel good, you don't need to spend time with them. You don't need to do anything. He naturally doesn't, which is cool. So you just nurture that aspect, and where, like, say when you're talking and your son's got the confidence to even just go, actually, no, this is right. It's right to stand up for what they believe in, and then go from there. I think if you do that as a parent, you're winning.
Yeah, and look, a lot of kids adults carry trauma from their childhood years and different things, right? So what you expose them to in those early years, whether it be good, bad, or otherwise, is going to shape them. They're going to have fears and successes and different things from what you taught them in the very young years. And you got to do your best. And we're all learning as adults all the way through, but the more you can do.
We're all learning how to parent at this age. And you know what the cool thing, I did hear a cool thing as well. It's like, kind of be the parent you need when you're younger. And then it was the other aspect as well, when you're like, you go through and you're tired, you've just had this hard day at work, and you're like, they're on at you at something. And I thought it was a really, really good way to put it in an analogy wise, like, hey, you've only got this one opportunity. Okay, this one opportunity, and this is the only time you're going to get reversed back in this moment where you naturally want to react and say something that you may not have. And it happened really well to me the other night. I got home really late. Maddox came out of his bedroom, out of bed, and wanted to see me before he should have been well in bed. Everybody was asleep because I got home so late. Came home and he got out of bed, was smiling. He was like, "Hey, Dad." And instead of me, I was like going, "Why are you out of bed?" You know, which is the natural response, and going through. I'm like, "Thank you for taking the time to come and come and see me. It's really cool." We gave him a hug. Okay, well, you know where you should be, buddy? back in bed, okay? So let's get a good night's sleep so you're good for tomorrow.
And now those little things. So my son Kellen, still, like, he's 13. Every day I pull into the garage, he comes out and meets me in the garage for a hug.
Yeah.
And I love it, but I also I've had to say to him, can you just let me in the house first? Because I'm hopping out of the car. I've got like 2 drink bottles, a bag, some groceries and stuff. And I'm like doing this awkward cuddle. But it's that same thing. It's like, I'm so grateful that he wants to come out. Like, I've walked in the house and he's coming to greet me, which is so rare in anyone these days. They'll come
I was just about to say, you got a 13-year-old son. It's probably the last thing that most 13-year-old sons
and he wants to go do it.
They
Like,
come out of their room.
But it's also like when you're busy, so often I'm still on the phone when I'm pulling in the house. And I'm like, can I just put the stuff down and then come and give me the cuddle? Just delay it like 5 seconds,
there's the other thing. You can not pick up the stuff first and get his cuddle
You
and
know
then
it's
do
coming,
it.
man.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
on you.
You know it's coming. Just do it that
Put
way.
the phone down. Don't pick up your stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
Take the
But yeah, there's all those things. But but fucking how good is it? So obviously
you
I've done
want that.
something as a parent that a 13-year-old still.
It wants to do that.
Yeah, like he'll be 14 in January, so he's coming out 13 and a half now. He's
One of my gifts, I reckon, I'm really good at. I see a lot of people, and I'm really good at picking energy and people, and just people. And you've got a really amazing kid. So
Kellen, he's a man.
you can
Yeah,
tell.
he's good.
I can read people very well, and it's one thing that I'm very good at. Sometimes I'll often read people and look at the good sides way more than the bad, but that's all right.
I appreciate that. Thanks. I'm glad you see that.
I do that too.
You're very tolerant.
But I think it is, especially for boys, it is super important. Like, I don't, like, growing up, all my cool memories pretty much are going on missions with my dad.
Yeah.
Like, Mum did a lot of stuff with you, but I don't remember a lot of the stuff, like, because it was every day-to-day stuff. It was all the essential stuff.
Yeah, it was coming
that
home
you
in the lunch.
needed.
The pivotal
afternoon
things.
tea was
all
waiting
the
for
cool
you.
stuff that you did or learned from or stuff like that was doing stuff with your dad. And there's a lot of kids that don't get that, and I think that's where a lot of it makes it a bit harder. They've never had that experience.
Yeah.
Or they might have an uncle that they go do it with, or another family member that's like, yo, come out, let's go do this, and get to do like a boy activity with a boy instead of having to do it with their mum.
Yeah.
And arguably it'd probably be more important than having a mum is having that.
Strong. No, I 100% agree with you.
Girls need mums, boys need dads. Like, just at the rugby game on Saturday, there was like a little girl, and one of them, they looked like they were almost twin sisters, and one was the tomboy girl, and the other one was the girl.
Yeah.
And I was like, that girl, not like blurring the line of sexes, but one of the dad didn't have any kids, and that's his boy. That's the girl. And fuck, she was cool.
Yeah.
She was like jumping, like breaking stuff, trying to jump over the stuff, and the other sister's like, no, you can't do that. No, look, my dolly can do it, and you can just see, like, you do see that with boys, like our boys running down hills or falling over stuff. They're full on. They want to send it. They're designed to hunt and kill and burn energy to some degree. We don't do that in the current ages, but that's what they do. And a girl's born and they want dollies and they want to do groceries and they're doing tea parties, and it's just like years of evolution have bred into them. And if you don't have that strong model on both sides of it to shape that, that's where you end up with these problems.
But I think it's really like father figure, and I'm talking like father figure is like so powerful in the family unit. It's like kind of like your nurturing base, and I can speak. I know it's like when Harper's got a little friend that doesn't have a father figure, and she's come over and played, and even when I go to the school and she happens to see me, I get tackled from some different area, and I feel a little bit awkward, I have to say, because I'm getting a random girl cuddling and giving me a cuddle, which I shouldn't feel that way, but it's like it's important, and obviously because she'll
She looks up to you.
view me in that aspect because she views Harper, and she's like, oh my God, she's so lucky to have that father figure there.
Yeah.
You know? So, but you just got to, it'll be super important for everybody.
Yeah, look, that's a whole different podcast, raising girls.
Oh yeah, massively. Mate, I can't even get, like, but you know, in saying that though, it's the young age where you get, like, my whole goal, my overall goal, and this is where if I will know at this certain age if I crack it as a father.
Yeah.
All I want is for Harper, when she's going out with her friends, if any reason they need to get picked up, call me. I'll pick them up. Doesn't matter, no matter what the time it is, who did what her friends, the state or anything, just as long as they call me, they won't be in trouble. I might tell them what they should be doing differently to keep themselves safe or different things. But as long as they call me and don't do something stupid to not call me because they were too worried about getting in trouble.
Yeah.
But I am not a loose father either. I'm these are the rules, these are this.
Yep.
But I think it's important to have that. I want to build that trust and relationship that you can be like, hey, it's a safe space.
Yep.
Well, it's bad when your kids start trying to keep stuff from you and they're living a whole double life that you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But you don't want to be their friend either. You've still got to be.
No, I'm the
100%
dad.
on their
I'm
friends.
the dad.
Yeah. And that's what our family dynamics always had an issue with, is that I'm stepdad and I'm like, yeah, cool, I am stepdad, and it'd be really easy to be your mate and tell you everything you want to hear, but I'm the only one here that's got to turn you into a man, and this is the way things happen for these reasons. But ultimately, you know, all the issues I had with one of those children, he's a fantastic kid now that he's got some purpose in his life.
Yeah.
It's all he was ever lacking was purpose.
And I know we've talked about him before and stuff, and it's never been like bad stuff, but you're like, I think he just needs some direction.
Yeah, and he's got it now with his boxing and his job, like,
And that's martial arts for you.
It is.
but it's
discipline.
But he already had the boxing, and it was school was the issue. But now he's got, like, his job. He works 5 days a week, and he'll take every extra day that he can because he's like, well, I'm doing fuck all anyway.
Yeah.
I'm like, amazing, so good.
But school's not really for boys either.
Nah.
It's a waste of, like, I'll take Bjorn out of school whenever I can to go do a mission, like to go do stuff. My dad took me out of school to go, like, we had docking or shearing or stuff to do on farm. So we're always doing missions.
You learn far more in one day doing that you would in a week at school.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, well, you need maths. And it's like, well, I had to count all the lambs. I had to count all the sheep. We had to tally them up. So you're still doing all that stuff, but you're learning life skills as well.
Yeah.
And
Challenge, resistance.
are more likely to learn or do, you know, it's like, okay, you're in charge of counting this pen, you know, and you're more likely to learn some more maths doing that than you are sitting in a classroom, because I'll just be throwing stuff at the kids at the front or something.
And it's just relevant. Like, all maths that every adult pretty well uses, and 98% of probably jobs can be done on a calculator. And not a scientific calculator. I never wake up and I'm like, oh shit, man, I've got to use some fucking algebra today. You know, I'm in finance. I do math every day through an Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not doing it in my head. I'm not working out long form, short form on a piece of paper.
And even talking to kids, like one of the young fellas that I go hunting with, I'm like, how's school? He's like, I go there to catch up with my mates, to play some sports, and they do have like a farming crossover sort of thing at their school, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know, he's like, that's why I go. I'm like, do you not do English or maths? And he's like, not anymore. He's like, sixth form, so he doesn't have to.
Yeah, so to Boys High's credit, they've got a program called Inquiry Learning, and Nick Callum went into it, and it's been fantastic. So generally you go to school and you go, this is what we're learning. Pick up this book. This is the book we're studying. Inquiry, you have the same teacher for 2 years. You have the same class for like 3 or 4 subjects, but it's all inquiry. And with inquiry, essentially it means, all right, we're going to write a paper on something, pick a topic.
Yeah.
And his topic right now that he's picked through school is Formula 1.
Yeah.
So it's something he's already interested in, and then they're going to go out there and inquire, find the information to be able to write whatever they want, whether it's a paper or some stats or whatever it may be around that. But they get to choose something that they're actually interested in, so then they're learning from it.
And good teachers help too.
Yeah.
Like, you go through school and you remember the good teachers, and you're like, that teacher was rubbish. I didn't learn anything from them. I had them 2 years. They were a waste of time. Then you get a good teacher, and makes all the difference.
Yeah.
You like that subject, they're open to things, so like, okay, you know, instead of just reading out on a book or, you know, looking at a book and writing it on the whiteboard, they'll actually engage. And I think we've got a lot of teachers that don't do that, and it really only affects boys, I reckon, more so.
Well, I have to say, I was considered from the age up until 12 probably more of the naughty kid.
Yeah.
But then I went to Barbados when I was 12, and then all of a sudden I was a very smart kid, and the teachers really liked me. It was the difference. I went from, I was like, why was I not picked for that? Why was I not picked for that? And then to Barbados, where I'm like, you're very, like, they were like, you're really clever, and they were all just treating me for my merits, and I just thrived.
Yeah,
it was huge.
Small fish, big pond, big fish, small pond kind of scenario.
Yeah.
I got told off on my first day.
Oh, Barbados was way more advanced schooling than here.
Oh, really?
I was way more. I was doing, in year 12, I was doing sixth form maths. We were so far behind. So we had to actually get tutoring to get up. So we got tutoring to get up to STEAM, that when we came back to New Zealand, I was still doing the maths in Barbados that when I was 12, I was doing it at 16. It was in sixth form. It was crazy.
Yeah, okay. Right.
So it's completely different. It's really competitive.
Yeah.
But it just shows the difference when
They knew how to work with you.
they just knew how to nurture the right kid.
Which
in
is
the right
most
way.
naughty kids are just so bored with the stuff you're teaching them because they're often their mind's
Elsewhere.
way
then-
ahead of what they're trying to tell you. Like, challenge them a bit more. Find how they need to be challenged.
Yeah. And it's funny, like looking back, like I've got a group of mates from school, and all of us that were always in trouble, that were always outside the principal's office or in a special class because we were, you know, trouble or naughty, or our grades weren't high enough. All of us, I think there were 6 of us in the class, have our own businesses, or, you know, there's not one of them that's like a dropout. Like, everyone's like succeeding in their own way real well. Yeah. And it's quite cool to see that, you know, a lot of these kids that were in the smart class haven't really, that was their peak, because that's the situation that they thrived in with schooling. But after school, in the real world, you know, it's completely different.
That goes to show with people's identity as well, not giving them identity as knowing as like, I'm the smart kid or I'm this, because naturally if you're chasing that, you're never going to feel it.
Yeah.
You're always going to go somewhere else that you go and be like, shit, somebody always knows better than me, and my goal is to hire people that's better than me to do that role.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you're the smart kid at school and you go into the real world, suddenly you're the dumb guy in the real world. And if you're never used to that, you could struggle.
Yeah.
If you've never had to work your way up.
Yeah. So this is a perfect segue into the question that I love to ask. So,
What's your phone number?
no, you know that already. So what's some advice you'd give your younger self? You would have heard of us.
Yeah. Just do it.
Yeah. Epic.
Yeah. Simple. Like, I just, like, even when I was in Europe, every time I got a chance to go do something, majority of the time I was like, yep, let's go do this. Or, you know, like, they'd have an adventure and I'm like, because I was only 18, so you're pretty fresh, just living in New Zealand, then going over there, introduced to this wildness, and getting opportunities to go to random places was pretty cool. There were some things that, you know, I probably didn't do that I should have. You know, I should have been like, just do it. What's the worst that could happen? But then there were other things. Now that I look back, I'm like, I probably shouldn't have done that. It was really sketchy, going to like dodgy countries. I know I told you about a story. We just got on you could go, because you can get to Eastern Europe real quick. You just change the train, you're into Eastern Europe. We met this guy in, I think it was Munich, and he was telling us about this place just out of Bratislava. And he was like, you can go to this place, you can fire any gun you want to. So we were like, this sounds epic. Jump on a train the next day, shoot down, and you get on the dodgy trains that go to Eastern Europe. went down there to this place, and this is before Hostel came out. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie. Was it Hostel? I think it was. It was it was this.
It rings a bell, but
it's this basically like half old town that looked like it thrived 40 years before we were there. All these old abandoned industrial buildings. And we get picked up by this taxi driver. He didn't speak English, but he knew he knew we were coming. And we went to this place, and it was pretty much an open slather. You could just pick which guns you wanted to use. You paid the money, and you got to shoot, and it was epic. It was epic, and he, we're like, oh, what else can we do while we're here? And there was one guy that spoke broken English, and we saw there was a grenade launcher, and we're like, wow, this is epic. I was like, how much to fire that thing? And he was like, he's like, it's very expensive, wrote it down. We're like, that's not that expensive. And he's like, for an extra 500, you can shoot it at a cow. And we're like, this is wild. And I was like, okay, I'm out. That's too much money for me. I didn't bring that much money. I just brought shoe money. I didn't bring our wallet, had the passport, that was it. And one of the other boys was like, I can't pass up on this opportunity. When am I going to come back here? So, I mean, it was a sight to see. It was...
But not something you'd repeat.
No, it's not something I'd definitely go to. It was pretty epic. But it's definitely, it was...
not Peter friendly.
So most people have stopped listening by this far into the podcast, I'm sure.
So it was definitely intense. Like it was, we were just like, oh shit, this is... Like they'll pay, you could do anything. And we're like, oh, what else can we shoot? We're like, oh my God, he's going to say people. This is, we're in like a third world country, out the back of nowhere. I don't know who knows we're here. And, there's open slather of weaponry here.
Well, it's got to be going through your head. At what point do they think we've got money and they just turn these on us?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they're like, no, just give us everything you got.
Yeah.
Well, I'm holding the grenade launcher.
Yeah. And now you're slaves. Yeah.
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 But now you're a sex slave.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's worse. Another podcast.
Next time. Yeah.
Well, in saying that though, so thank you so much for your time. It's been absolutely phenomenally epic to kind of get to know you and have this chat and about a whole pile of different topics and tasks and just having that real open slather.
Yeah. We came to probably expected to talk sparking and licking wires, and we've turned into how to dad. So
I think that's perfect. I think that's how a conversation should be, though.
Slightly more important things. I mean, Sparky's a Sparky, really, but
it's the man behind the Sparky.
It is.
It's important to me.
Yeah, yeah. We're just lucky enough that we get to do some cool stuff.
Yeah.
And work with some awesome clients and some awesome builders and have good yarns. I think tradies are pretty lucky.
Yeah.
As far as the lifestyle goes of a tradie, you can pretty much do whatever you want, so to speak, and you get to meet a whole lot of wild people, because you meet some full-blown people. Like there's some special painters out there. There's some real good ones, but there's some real
special ones. Yeah.
And same with I can see it in any industry. Sort of guys that you're like, wow. I would have never talked to this guy if he wasn't on site, and he's an eye-opener. You can have it for all the wrong reasons or all the right reasons. There's and I guess that's the cool thing about the tradie life. If you don't know, a lot of kids just go to university. They're pushed there by their parents. They don't know what they want to do. It's different if you've got a path and you've got to do A, B, C, and D to get there. Like your industry, you can't really just wing it. And you can then be a tradie, or try at least. If you don't want to do it, you can get a trade under your belt. 3 years later, then you can go and do what you want. You think of what an 18-year-old knows versus a 21 or 22-year-old. You know a lot more in life of what you want to do when you're 22 than when you're 18.
Yeah, definitely.
So at least if you've got a trade, then it's something you can always fall back on.
I think it's clever and smart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you
That's
so
fantastic.
much.
We can tell Gabs here needs to go for another Joe Rogan. So he's like sitting on the edge. He's like,
just waiting.
when are you going to shut up, Jasper? When are you going to shut up?
Just waiting for him to mention Joe. Like,
He's going to mummy on my seats.
he's like my mate Joe Rogan. He always stops like this. Did I mention him? Joe. Shout out Joe. Thank you.
Yeah, shout out Joe and shout out Jasper. Thanks for joining us, mate.
Easy.